Welcome everybody to a special morning edition of What's Up Bolts. Yeah, last week for the preview, Patriots and Chargers, we did it at 1 p.m. I believe, but that's when our guest Doug Keed could join us. Today, another special guest, Paul Gutierrez of ESPN, joins us. We'll talk all things Raiders, see what he's thinking about the future of the Raiders. You know, Dan's going to have multiple questions about Tom Brady, about the future of the Raiders. So definitely appreciate everybody joining us this morning. I know it's early. Angie, thank you so much. How are you? I know it's early, but this is the time that we could get Paul on, and this is going to be exciting. And we do have a very big surprise at the end of the show. You guys will see what'll happen. But again, thank you guys for joining us. First, let's go with the intro, and then we'll bring in Dan and Daygo.
Compas on the beat. Let's get it. Let's go.
Yeah. So where's Compas?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Okay, all right. We got proof right there.
Some guy that seems like he's asleep. Need you to wake up, Gilbert. There's a lot of energy.
Come on, Gilbert. Let's go.
Come on. Dan and Daygo is at Moe's.
I'll show you. I'll show you. I got it right.
Okay, that's it. You guys, I am done with mine, but that's pretty much it. Couldn't get better than a 2026 6th-round pick swap for a 7th-rounder. So
Freaking love you, Chad.
Hey, dude. Cool, man.
Compas on the beat, man. Derwin James signing off, man. Watch Compas on the beat, man.
You guys got to listen to Derwin James. That's Pro Bowl Derwin James. Maybe a future All-Pro Derwin James. But thank you guys so much for joining us. Again, early morning. We appreciate you guys rocking with us. Next week, we'll be back to our normal times, with the holidays and everything. And then this next individual that I'm about to present, he's a busy guy. He has a lot of things going on. So he told me, Frau, you got me at 8:45 a.m. The rest of the day, my day is planned. So I was like, all right, Dan, got you. So appreciate everybody for joining us again this weekend. Chargers travel to the Las Vegas Raiders. They're 4-12. The game's at 125. Will they have something to play for, or will they not? Let us ask this next individual what he thinks.
Let's go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Breakfast Club here with the Compas. Shout out to all you for joining us. I feel great, Frau. It feels great going into this week knowing you're already in the playoffs. I love it. It feels great. I had forgotten this feeling. And then I don't have to worry. What's up, Angie? How you doing? Then I don't have to worry. I would love that too. Get 11 wins. That way my pick looks better against Alberto's. But then I don't have to worry. We're not throwing wide receiver screens out here to get people killed, Frau. That's what I can't have anymore.
And Dan, the big topic of conversation is obviously what we've all been talking about since the Chargers beat the Patriots, and then obviously since the Steelers lost to the Chiefs, and then the Chargers beat the Patriots, and then obviously the Bengals beat the Broncos. What's going to happen with that 5th and 6th seed? The 7th one obviously is a huge in play. By the way, just announced Tua Tagovailoa will not play this weekend against the Jets. Tyler Huntley will start again for the 2nd straight week. So if the Broncos lose to the Carson Wentz-led Chiefs, it's all on Tyler Huntley if they're gonna make the playoffs. If they lose to the Jets, which is quite possible, and the Bengals beat the Steelers, then the Bengals jump into the 7th seed. They go to Buffalo. The Steelers would go to Baltimore, and the Chargers would go to Houston. So that's exactly the way that this is all playing out. And Dan and Angie's asking already, do you guys think the Steelers will lose? I think they will. I chose the Bengals to win earlier in the week during our Compas picks, just because, Dan, I feel like right now the Bengals are very hot. The Steelers have lost 3 in a row. They're at home, but the Bengals just seem like they're on a mission to try and get that last wild card spot. And if they do, Dan, all hell's going to break loose, because they could obviously go into Buffalo. They could beat Buffalo.
Yeah.
They could go into Kansas City and beat Kansas City. The Chargers could go into Houston and beat Houston. The Chargers could go into Baltimore and beat Baltimore. And maybe the AFC Championship is here at SoFi Stadium, Dan. But
from your lips to God's ears, could you imagine?
But again, going back to it, Angel, sorry, very early. We have a lot of special guests jumping on right now, so we appreciate you guys jumping on. What's up, Javier? How are you doing today?
What's up, my boy?
Yeah, and this is what Dan's been talking about, Angie.
100%.
He needs a playoff win, and see, this is the thing: the Steelers are already set going into the playoffs, so they could take the approach where but you don't want to go with a 4-game losing streak into Baltimore.
Exactly. Yeah,
So that's going to be the thing.
Yeah,
I've seen people, other people around the NFL, reporters and stuff, predict that the Steelers could at one point just sit their guys. And I'm like, why would you want to do that? You'd go into the playoffs with a 4-game losing streak, and you're going into Baltimore. That's really rough. Because if Baltimore wins against Cleveland, they've won the division. And then the Steelers essentially would only be playing for seeding. But if you're them, wouldn't you rather go to Houston first instead of going to Baltimore? But I guess everybody's different. But I definitely do think that the Bengals are going to beat the Steelers. I'd be very surprised if they didn't, just because of how hot they are right now. And Joe Burrow's willing that team. And if they get into the playoffs,
oh yeah, the ultimate bracket buster.
No, but if they get into the playoffs, I definitely think that, and I know people kind of are squirrely with this, but if they made Joe Burrow the MVP, if they named him the MVP, I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, he willed his way into the playoffs with a team that his defense is really bad. And I know everybody goes back to the 2021 Justin Herbert year, but still, this is different. I just think that MVP, he should certainly be in that conversation if he's able to will his team into the playoffs, because that run that they've been on lately, seems like the Chargers kind of punched them in the mouth and they kind of woke up after that, I believe. But Dan, what's kind of your thought on
well, I was going to say, in the Steelers perspective, 100% you don't want to go into the playoffs with a 4-game losing streak. And it's not like,
oh no, the Steelers punched them in the mouth 44-38. Oh, that was that wild game where the Steelers for some reason kept on scoring, but ever since that game, the Steelers have kind of spiraled out of control. But go ahead.
Yeah, but you don't want to go into the playoffs playing bad football. They haven't been playing very well lately. They can't put up points. They've had turnovers, and it has not looked well. And I think the other thing is too, I do believe the Bengals are going to beat them at home because they haven't been playing well. And I think the other thing is too, if Burrow, let's just say, gets up on them by 10 points, maybe 14 points, I think that's going to be hard for that team to try and come back. I don't think they have an offense really that can try and play from behind and, put up points. But the other thing is too, I'm with you. Why would you sit these guys if potentially you're not going to win the division, fine, but you're playing for seeding, and then on top of that, you haven't been playing well. You need all the reps you can get to try and clip. Yeah. I doubt there's some switch that Danger Russ has in his brain where he's all of a sudden going to turn it on in the playoffs. But, the other thing is, too, when it comes to the Chargers, I think they're all going to play if the Bengals win on Saturday. I think if the Bengals lose on Saturday and they're already locked up the 5th seed, I think that right there is the only time where you sit a Justin Herbert, you sit J.K. Dobbins, obviously sit Perryman, sit all the guys who've been hurt. You need those guys next week whenever you need those guys next week for when you go to Baltimore or wherever. So, 100%. That's the only way I see them sitting anybody. But obviously, if you're playing for the 5th seed, just blow them out, just like you did against New England, and try and get your guys resting in the 4th quarter or whatever.
And that game was kind of an anomaly because I think they had 141 receiving yards to the backs. That Steelers Bengals game, so that's kind of an anomaly. That's you rarely see something like that. But no, I agree with you. The only thing is, I think Harbaugh would give them a quarter at least. I think the players would want a quarter just so that they don't go a full week without playing football. Like I told you yesterday when we were driving up to I was going to say Costa Mesa, El Segundo. I told you I just think it's really bad, right? Like for the Chiefs, they played that Christmas game. And they haven't played football since. They're going to rest Mahomes this week. Then they're going to have that bye week. That's almost 3 weeks of him not playing football. So I think that's a little dangerous when it comes to that.
Good. Hopefully it gets ice cold.
But I definitely think that the Bengals are going to throw everything and the kitchen sink at the Steelers.
Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, they're playing for their football lives, dude. You know they're going to every trick play that they've been waiting to put out,
and that's rare for the usually in the past. I know the NFL is enamored with these Saturday games, but in the past, remember everybody used to play on Sunday.
Yeah,
and you'd have to be scoreboard watching and seeing what's going to happen. A couple years ago, remember the Bengals were at the Ravens, I think. No, it was the Ravens. The Ravens were playing the Bengals. And if the Steelers, no, my bad. If the Ravens won the game, they would win the division and they'd be in the playoffs. If they lost, they'd be out of the playoffs and the Steelers would be in. And I remember the Steelers were watching the game on their jumbotron, watching the end of it. Yeah. And they ended up losing, and you could just tell the Steelers players were all bummed out. And the Ravens made the playoffs, and it was on a last second play.
I think that was Big Ben's last year, or was that his second to last year or something?
Second to last year, I think. But that's what I'm talking about. Like that's the kind of stuff where you're like, oh crap, like that's huge. And it's obviously completely different than what we've had in years past. So with them having Saturday games now it's a little rough.
Oh, it's glorious. I love it for me because we're on.
The Chargers get to know if what their destiny is going into that game. So they're gonna know their destiny. They're gonna know, hey, it's go time or it's not. And
I love what Angel says too. I totally agree right here where he's like, Angel says if the Bengals make it in, I think they can make it as much noise as the Chargers could make. 100%. The ultimate bracket busters are sitting at potentially 5-7 with the Chargers and the Bengals, because the thing. Oh, shout out! I think it's Matt, right?
Yeah, it's Matt.
Shout out, Matt.
What's up, Matt? How are you doing?
Let's go, Matt. I appreciate it.
Bro? I was listening at work. Won't be able to message, but let's go. Appreciate you listening.
Appreciate you, Matt.
And pretty soon we have our special guest joining us, Paul Gutierrez of ESPN. We'll have him on shortly.
By the way, make sure everybody pound the like button. Help us out. Pound the like button. Leave a comment. Appreciate you all. But going back to it. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, I think Paul's ready to go. Can I get the thumbs up, Paul? You ready to go? Yeah, that's a double thumbs up.
There we go.
We're ready to get him in. All right, let's get our guy in here, Paul Gutierrez. We love this guy. He is the best. Paul, how are you doing?
Good. What's going on, guys? Good morning. What's happening?
Good morning. No, what's happening with you? I mean, big interesting weekend this week because Chargers have something to play for essentially if the Steelers lose to the Bengals, and the Raiders, I mean, essentially, are they playing for AP's job? Is that kind of the mindset of what you guys are seeing?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, that's one narrative that can be put out there, and another is they're simply playing for themselves. They're playing for pride. They're playing in an interesting twist on things after having the longest losing streak in 10 years. They opened the 2014 season 0-10. They lost 10 straight this season. Now they have a chance to end the season on a 3-game winning streak and a little bit of momentum going forward. So whether they're playing for somebody's job or playing to put some more good tape on film for these guys going into the offseason, they got a lot of free agents on defense. So there's a lot of things at play here. Something else is that if they beat the Chargers, they win their first game in the division this season. If they lose, they go winless in the division for the first time since 2006. So there's a lot of different things that are happening out there right now.
Yeah, no, I completely that 2006. That is definitely interesting. Paul, what's kind of been the mood like with the Raiders recently? Just because, I mean, obviously you lose Max Crosby, but then they hit that winning streak, and fans are talking about they want a higher seed because they want a chance at Cam Ward or Shador Sanders, and obviously the Raiders have not been complying. I told Gilbert and Vic and Dan on the show earlier this week, I'm like, coaches who are on the hot seat, they're not gonna bow out and just hit the mat and just tap out. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna keep on trying to go and win games to prove to ownership, hey, I have not lost control of this locker room. Is that kind of what your sense is from the guys in there, like that they're moving forward and they're trying to go 1,000%?
No doubt. It's like our friend Herm Edwards said, right? You play to win the game. And that's the reason that they're all out there doing it. And it's funny, like you don't really bring it up and say, hey, you guys blew this draft, because facts are facts, right? I mean, a couple of weeks ago, they were on track. If they had lost out, they would have had the number 1 overall pick, regardless of what the Giants did, and the Giants ended up winning. So they went from having the number 1 pick to right now they're about 8 or 9, and if they beat the Chargers, they might be 9 or 10, 11, something like that. They don't care. Antonio Pierce himself said, we're not playing this for somebody's fantasy team. We're not playing this for draft picks. We're playing to win the game. So they really don't care what the other people say about this or what's going on in that aspect. They're just going out there trying to play. So in that sense, it's a little bittersweet for them because they are playing their best ball of the year, minus their biggest stars, and when the season is essentially over. So it's just kind of, where do you go with this? What do you do with it? Then you start looking at people that are playing for jobs and putting things on tape. I was talking to a good friend of mine last night who's a season ticket holder, and he's torn. He wants them to win every time they go out there, but at the same time, he realizes they need draft picks. So it's just a really interesting, ironic time right now for the team.
Let me ask you. There's been a lot made about what the future is going to be at the quarterback position. You got some people saying that AOC is as good as CJ Stroud. The numbers say that. You have other people basically saying, no, we need a new quarterback. It's time for a breath of fresh air. What's kind of the sense you're getting from the Raiders moving forward? I mean, is it time to go get a new quarterback, or do you feel like they might have found something in AOC? Because I mean, I remember when he first got drafted, everybody's like, well, he could be the Dak Prescott of the Raiders. But the sense that I've gotten, obviously, and the sense that I think a lot of us have gotten is he's okay, but he's not at that level of Dak Prescott or anything like that. Like they should be thinking about getting a quarterback in this upcoming draft.
I think the simple answer to all of that is yes. they need a little bit of everything, and if you can always try to improve at any position, you should try to do that. Like I said, there's a weird bittersweet feeling around the team right now in terms of you wonder, what if they had just rolled with Aiden from day one and not gone with Gardner Minshew and just saw what happened. Maybe they've got 7 wins, maybe they got 8 wins. Does that really change things other than your draft slot at this point? And that's the interesting thing about Aiden is that he's just your prototypical drop back quarterback. He's not athletic. He can't really avoid the rush much. But he does just enough. And you saw it last year too. And actually what I've written for this week is, he has seen this movie before. Not only has he seen it, he starred in it. This is exactly how last season ended with him, because they ended really, really strong and a lot of positive vibes going into the future. And if they do beat the Chargers with this 3-game winning streak, now you're sitting here and you're going, okay, well, now they're drafting in the top. And again, the most ironic part of it all is that when they had that inside track for that number 1 pick, and it looked like it was going to be Shador or Cam Ward, and it still might be, who knows, depending upon what Tom Brady wants to do. The guy that had the keys to all of this that could have really wrecked the Raiders' draft plans was Aiden O'Connell himself. And guess what he's done? He's played just well enough to knock the Raiders back.
Yeah.
Dan, go ahead.
That's perfect that you brought up Tom. I'm super curious. I understand he's a minority owner or whatever, but I'm super curious at how big of a role he's going to have in the offseason. Because personally, I don't want to say too much, but I've seen the GM story before for 11 years. You know what I mean? So I have a hard time believing, and I understand we could talk about AP's job security and everything else, and I get that. But I have a hard time believing Tommy T is gonna, survive Tommy B. You know what I'm saying? Like Brady demands. He lives at what's the Raider? Strive for excellence or something like that. To quote Al Davis, I can't remember.
Commitment to excellence.
Commitment to excellence.
Just
exactly.
Win, baby. All of it.
Exactly.
All of it.
And I have a hard time believing Brady's going to go in there and see some of these guys and be like, oh yeah, they're fine. Let's let some of these guys stay here. And on top of that, you have Pete Carroll out there. You have Mike Vrabel out there. I find it hard to believe we're just going to pass up on these guys twice. You know what I mean? So can you just talk about how big of a role you think Brady's going to have and everything else?
Huge. He's going to have a huge role, and he's going to have arguably the most juice in the organization in terms of things like that, because he's going to have what Mark Davis is going to give him and what he wants him to do. There's a reason he brought him into the organization, right? So there's no doubt that he's going to have a bigger say than a lot of people think. And then right now he's just kind of, cooling off and trying to figure out, and you go from there. So, it's interesting because we haven't had a chance yet to talk to Tom Brady and figure out what his plans are. And Mark Davis has been very nebulous in terms of what the role will be for Tom. And as he said it himself when he was approved as the owner back in October, that that has yet to be decided. But he did say that he hoped that maybe he could help choose a new quarterback. He could help train a new quarterback. So
Yeah.
you've got all of that just kind of floating out there in the ether
Yeah.
as well. Not only what type of role will Tom Brady have, but who's going to be the coach? Who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to be the defensive coordinator? The Raiders have a gaggle of free agents on defense too. And here's the other interesting thing about it: the Raiders have a top 10 defense. By the stats themselves, they are number 10 in total yards allowed right now. So, and everybody on that defense is basically going to be a free agent too. So, those are all decisions that you've got a GM for a reason, but you also have Tom Brady, who has a 10% share of the team, is going to be a big decision maker as well. And to me, I don't know if you can actually put a number on it other than to say, yeah, he's going to have a lot of juice when it comes to decisions being made this offseason.
Paul, why should I trust, if I'm a Raider fan, hypothetically, why should I trust Tom Brady's viewpoint on a quarterback if John Elway himself, who was a great quarterback, couldn't select one when he was a member of the Denver Broncos? He had to bring in Peyton Manning. Why should I trust the eye of Tom Brady to select the next quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders?
Great question, man. Why should you trust? I don't know. I think a lot of longtime Raider fans are going to look at it with the leery eye, anyways, because they're like, "Wait a minute! If it's not for the tuck rule, we don't know who this guy is today." So, and I'm not saying that myself. I'm just saying, it's a great question. I mean, that's a great question to ask at some point of him, because he hasn't done it before. Because he's been doing it in TV, and we saw that before when Mike Mayock was the GM. I remember asking Mike Mayock, I'm like, "Look, you were for so many years for the NFL Network, you were a virtual GM for 32 teams.
Yeah.
Now you're a real GM for one team. So how is that going to play out?" And I think it's kind of the same thing with Tom Brady. He's not the GM, obviously, that's Tom Telesco, but they're going to have to work hand in hand. They're going to have to work in concert with each other. And like I said, however much juice Tom Brady has is going to be whatever Mark Davis tells him he has. So why should they trust him? I guess just from his own. He recognizes excellence, so to speak, so he should be able to do it. But you're right to bring up the John Elway comparisons. Wayne Gretzky in hockey, Ted Williams as a baseball manager way back when. That's the most interesting thing to me is when you have these all-time type greats going into new roles. Do they have the patience? Do they have the wherewithal to withstand? Look, not everybody's as good as I am. So how does that adapt? So that, again, a great question. That might be the best question that's ever been on Compas on the Beat. I like that.
I appreciate making history today. But I was going to say, just talking about that too. I mean, just from my perspective, what other hope do fans have, really? I mean, the Raiders, and this is not me taking shots, the Raiders are such a big brand, and they've been so bad for like the past, I don't know if a decade is fair or not. I don't know a decade's fair or not. But, they remind me of sort of, right now, kind of drifting into soccer. Manchester United is such a huge brand, and they're falling apart. And it's like, I'm sure the Las Vegas Raiders, any fan of that team, they see Brady coming in. They're like, the bastard must know something. He won 6 Super Bowls. You know what I mean? Like
7.
Oh, yeah, 7. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, you're right. 7. He won 7. He must know something because, like, I'm old enough to remember – kind of when those Charger games were super competitive in Oakland, when they were a little bit better, maybe not. The Chargers weren't any better. Hell, they were 8-8 half the time, but they were at least competitive for something. You know what I mean? And I remember the Black Hole rocking, and it's like it's as a trying to put on a neutral hat. I think that's always a shame when you don't really see that because they're not very good or whatever. And it's like, what do you think is the biggest thing missing for the Raiders to kind of get back on track, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, because you've covered them for a while and everything else. You've seen different coaches, different GMs. What do you think is the biggest thing missing?
It's simply, and I'll go back to what you asked earlier about one of the old Al Davis sayings, just win. They haven't won. It really is as simple as that. Now, how do you get there? Well, that's to be figured out, right? They've only had 2 winning seasons, guys, and 2 playoff appearances since 2002. So that's part of it. The other part of it is you were mentioning you're old enough to remember the games at the Oakland Coliseum. I'm old enough to remember going to games at the LA Coliseum to watch the Raiders and the Chargers and to watch your boy John Freeze beat the Raiders in 1992, I believe it was. So, And I'm old enough to remember when they were the Oakland Raiders before that, when the Raiders beat the Chargers in the AFC title game in 1980. 10-year-old me was sitting there watching the game on TV. So
Oh wow.
it's an interesting, I'm not old enough to remember when the LA Chargers were playing at the LA Coliseum back in 1960. but it's a rivalry, and rivalries usually bring out the best and or the worst in teams when they face each other. So again, a long answer to your short question, but what's missing is from the Raiders' perspective, and Mark Davis will be the first one to say this, the winning. They have not been winning enough. And winning is the ultimate deodorant in any sport.
Oh, yeah,
so
100%.
So if and when they start winning, things like this are, this won't even be a matter of discussion anymore. But again, the facts are the facts, and the fact that the Raiders have not had but 2 winning seasons since 2002, that in and of itself tells you half, if not more, of not the entire story.
Have you ever watched the movie Draft Day or no?
Oh yeah.
Okay. You know when Kevin Costner takes a little, like, writes down on the piece of paper. I can't remember the guy's name right now, but is that kind of what Mark Davis is doing right now with? Is it Mike Vrabel over everybody?
I don't know if that's Mark's. If Mark does something like that, it was interesting though that in the movie the Cleveland Browns drafted Black Panther. So I mean, the guy's a superhero. So
by the way,
they're going to the Super Bowl.
If you ever go
to the Super Bowl, then
if you're ever on YouTube, look up Tom Telesco reviews Draft Day. The Chargers got him to sit down and review the whole movie Draft Day. So there's some things where Tom's like, I don't know, that's not really accurate. Oh, that is accurate. So like he just goes through the whole movie and watches it, and it's actually pretty funny. He showed a lot of personality in that clip or in that video.
I would love to sit down with you then and go through the Karate Kid Legends movie. We can go, and I'll tell you what's real, and what's not.
We should. And I was gonna bring that up at the end because I'm excited. No, you're good. I'm excited for that movie. But if you could put it in a percentage, how much do you think AP stays? And if it's not AP, who do you think would be their number one draft pick, essentially to be their next head coach? Because whoever it is, you have to go in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, Justin Herbert, Jim Harbaugh, and Sean Payton, and Bo Nix isn't there yet, but still he's shown he's been a okay quarterback so far. So so that's basically my question.
Yeah, so percentage-wise, I always kind of lean this way on it, right? I mean, I'm gonna kind of paraphrase here from Mark Davis. When John Gruden resigned, and Rich Bisaccia took over, he had told me at the time that the decision-making capabilities within the organization was that John Gruden had 51% and Mike Mayock as a GM had 49%. Then it swapped to Mayock now has 51, Bisaccia has 49. We all know that if you have 51, that means you have it all, right? I mean, so right here, right now at 9:15 Pacific time on Friday, January 3rd, I'm going to say 51% that Antonio Pierce stays, simply because there's a couple things at play here, and I'm not breaking any news or talking out of school here or anything, but in my mind, I don't think you could really move on / fire Antonio Pierce for bad coaching, for a bad record. Because if you look at this roster, you look at all the injuries they suffered, you look at the quarterback situation from day one. They've had 3 guys that have thrown passes this year. You can't really blame Antonio Pierce for that, so to speak, to fire him. That being said, like every position on every roster, if you think you can improve, you take a look at that and you move on. Who's out there that would be a quote unquote improvement over him? I this is like you guys are like the second, third people now that are talking about Pete Carroll's name being thrown out there, which I was like, this is interesting. That this is starting to gain a little bit, but it's the season, right? It's the season to start throwing names out there. Vrabel, I keep hearing that he wants the Patriots or bust, and again, who's saying it? Who knows? It's just that it's out there. So right here, right now, unless, especially if they end the season on a 3-game winning streak, it's hard to kind of walk away from that. But then I also said in 2021, how do you not give Rich Bisaccia and that staff at least one more season, because they quote unquote deserved it? But as we all know in the NFL, deserve has very little to do with anything.
Exactly.
Completely
Yeah.
agree. I would love to see if they're gonna do that. Mike Vrabel versus Gerard Mayo fist fighting for the job. Like,
Oh my
both of those
god.
behemoths trying to whoever comes out of that gets the Patriots job. But
I mean, but like my thing is like when obviously who was the one who did AP step in for? Who just got fired? Oh yeah, Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels. My bad. Sorry, I blinked on his name.
Oh, and that's what they're saying, that Mike Vrabel would bring Josh McDaniels as the OC back to New England if he was the head coach. So that's what has fans excited, that Josh McDaniels would be working with Drake May. Because we talked to Doug Keed last week from the Boston Herald, and he kind of was telling us that that's what has fans excited about it.
Well, and not only that, but the Patriots now got the number 1 pick. So what do you do there? If you you bring in Josh McDaniels, you got your quarterback already. Okay, Travis Hunter,
trade down.
And then you kind of go that way. So
I would trade down and get that kid a left tackle for the future. Yeah, you want to protect Drake May with as much as you can.
That's boring, man. Nobody wants to hear that on January 3rd. Nobody wants to talk about a left tackle at number whatever.
I know, but
quarterback.
But it's like Travis, it's Nick Wright was like, if I was the Patriots, I would trade Drake May to the 2nd overall pick and draft Shador and Travis. And I'm kind of like, why?
Well, now you got to hire Dion. You got to hire Dion.
Yeah.
And then Hard Knocks, in-season Hard Knocks, all that crap has to just be at the Patriots, which I don't know if Bob Kraft would want all that coming in to him.
And at that, I would thank my lucky stars I'm not a Patriots beat writer, because that would be crazy.
What I've been saying on the show a lot is like, this is my personal opinion again. Like, I don't want anyone to get rubbed in with this too, but I think teams are going to second guess drafting any of Dion's players. That's just my personal opinion, because the last thing you need is Dion jumping on Twitter or doing anything like that to give you some negative PR. And I think Dion's going to be very vocal about how his players are used, how his son's used, obviously. And I think that's going to be, don't forget about Shiloh. I forgot about that. Don't forget about Shiloh. I can't forget about his ass now. But I think there's going to be that has to be a thought in the building. That's like, hey, like, I understand these guys are probably good players, except Shiloh. He needs to start filming and doing what Dion Jr. does. But, that has to be a thought in the building. That's like, you don't need the extra distraction or the extra voice from the outside or whatever. But that's just my opinion. I don't know what you think about that, since we kind of jumped onto the Sanders train. But
I fully agree with you 100%. And if it's not a thought in the building, then people need to start thinking about it, or at least watch this episode, because you guys are breaking news all day long today, man. So from the great questions to, hey, what's going on? And that's the other thing about Shador. And again, this is not dump on Shador, the Sanders family, or anything like this. But
no.
If he does, go on and Dion is not his coach, this will be the first time in his playing career, I believe, that his dad is not his coach. So how is he going to respond to that? Again, that's not a shot. That's a simple question, is that you have to ask. He's going to be on his own for the first time ever. And maybe he's mature enough. Probably is. I mean, he's got the wherewithal to withstand, those type of things. But it's a legitimate question, is, hey, how do you think he's going to respond being on his own? Beyond that, if Dion's not there, you're absolutely correct that what he's shown is that he's going to have opinions, and strong opinions, and he's going to let them be known. So that's something else to keep in mind as well for whoever
he already
decides
came out
to
and he tweeted out, because the Jets interviewed Louis Riddick for their GM. He's like, I hope this isn't he didn't say DEI. He said, I hope this isn't a Rooney Rule interview, because Louis Riddick knows ball and he should be considered for the GM. And I'm like, dude, it's already starting. Like, he's literally his season's over. So he's going to start tweeting out and having opinions. So, like, let's just say that Adam or Vic or you or one of you guys tweets out a story saying, I don't know if Shador Sanders is the way to go with the Raiders, the quarterback of the future. He'll probably tweet at you guys and be like, what are you guys talking about? My boy's the best, this, that. So, and honestly, I think all eyes are going to be on Shador come the combine, when he has to interview at that podium. I don't think anybody is going to be anywhere else except for at Shador's podium, because everybody's going to want to know, all these things that we're talking about, Paul, right now. All the media is
Yeah.
going to want to know, what are you going to do without your dad being your head coach for the first time in your whole life? How are you going to adapt? There's players that have left Colorado that have said that it's you, Shiloh, and Travis, and Dion, and everybody else. Like, how are you not going to isolate yourself? So these are all legit questions that they have to that they're going to have to answer. And if it's not Dion, it's going to have to be Shiloh. It's going to have to be Shador. So, and even Travis, I think, is going to have to answer those questions as well.
Yeah. And again, that's why we do this, right? That's why. And if Dion does want to take a shot at somebody that's on the beat, hey, that's going to help your followers, I think. So, but then also RIP your mentions. So,
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. It's what covering the NFL is these days. And it's, again, to me, it's all fair. And if what you talked about, what Dion tweeted out earlier about Louis Riddick, I agree with that. I hope it's not simply that. So, and yet that's part of what comes along with him. He's such an engaging personality, one of the greatest players in pro football, any football history. So that comes with the territory. So, I hate to always use this saying, but it is what it is. And if you don't know that when you sign up, then shame on you.
Yeah.
Paul, last few questions. Do you think this guy is going to be back on an NFL sideline pretty soon?
Well, there's a lot of people that don't think running backs are very important anymore. Don't pick up their fifth-year option. They're not worthy of a first-round pick. Well, I disagree. And last week proved it. And that's what's got me feeling really nicey. Like Ray Davis in the Buffalo Bills. 20 carries, 87 yards. He did it on Monday Night Football, just a rookie.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
I've covered the Raiders in one profession, in one sense or another since 2005, right? And there was a 2-year little blip there where I covered the 49ers in 14 and 15. And I've seen a lot of strange things. John Gruden coming back into the NFL. John Gruden, and I'm not even advocating this or even hinting that I've heard any of this. John Gruden coming back to coach the Raiders next year would not even be top 5 weirdest things, because it just kind of makes sense. And again, I'm not trying to say anything or infer anything. I'm just saying, to answer your question, it would not shock me at all if John Gruden was back in the NFL.
That's got me feeling nicey.
Yeah.
I'm a big Gruden guy. I don't care. I understand he was naughty and a lot of that stuff, but I love watching him. I love seeing the mics up. I just love the guy. He has such a great personality. And I'm sure he's one of those guys that what you see is what you get. So
yes,
Yeah,
and if you want to get fired up, whether you're a Raider fan or just a football fan or a Hard Knocks fan, watch the season premiere opening section for 2019 when he said, "I'm not in here for the Peach Bowl. I'm not here for the Blue Bonnet Bowl. Whatever. I'm here for the Super." And he goes off. And I'll tell you this, and I haven't really told this in a public setting. The thing that kind of endeared me with John on a personal level is this. The guy was always accessible, and you would talk to him. And it was in the middle of COVID. And my son was a sophomore in high school, and he was playing JV football, and he tore his ACL. And out of nowhere, I got a text from John, and it was a video from John to my son. Wishing him luck and telling him, God, I'm not getting choked up, guys. I'm not. I'm just saying.
No, I know.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, maybe I am. Who knows?
Yeah, I know.
But the fact that he took the time. He took the time to send my son a video, giving him, hey, man, you can get through this and you can help the guys. And, I'm thinking of you. That to me, kind of endeared me on a personal level, which as you're covering him in a professional setting, you got to set that to the side. Yeah. But it's also one of those things where it's like, okay. Now I see it. Now I understand how when that happened with the email situation, it's like, man, and I talked to Lincoln Kennedy, I talked to Charles Woodson, I talked to Tim Brown and all those guys, and they were blown away. They're like, that's not the man I know. That's not the coach I love. So it was one of those things where, after enough time, not everything's forgiven, but where we are as a country right now, obviously a lot of things are forgiven. So you kind of go that route.
Did he move back in his chair and he just goes, "You got to get through this. You got to get back on that field." Oh,
You know what was awesome was he was just like in this dark room, just like that. He's in a dark room with like one light shining on him, and it was awesome. My son
Have you
still
seen
has
him
it.
at Barstool, by the way? Some of those clips.
Yes.
It's the most glorious thing I've ever seen. You know, a big thing that I've been saying on the show also, I was like, if you don't want to let him coach because of all that stuff, fine, whatever. I would pay money to see him uncensored narrate games or commentate on games, or let him go. Let him go. Oh, yeah, him and Bruce Arians would be good. Let him go to all 32 teams and just travel with them. And then either let him coach a position, let him run a meeting or something like that for the day or whatever. Just to, he's a content machine, dude.
Yeah, he's definitely a personality. And that was one of the things that's kind of like his greatest strength and maybe his biggest weakness is that, you saw it happen to Marquette King. Marquette King got himself blackballed from the league, I think, because he was on NFL Network and he came out there because his last name is King. He came out wearing a crown and a cape and holding a scepter. And they asked him about his new coach, John Gruden. And he looks around and he goes, Gruden, who is that? Oh, the guy from Monday Night Football. So that's the reputation that precedes him. That sent Marquette King on his way out, even though Marquette had told me at the time when he never even really got a chance to meet him or Bisaccia, the special teams coach, because his initial meeting for them, he brought a Snickers bar for Gruden because he thought Gruden was a little hangry. So he wanted to make amends by giving him a Snickers bar. And he brought, as he told me, this is Marquette, quote unquote, he brought him some limoncello because, quote, he's Italian. So that's for Bisaccia. He never got a chance to give him anything. He got called in to Reggie McKenzie's office and he was gone.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's bad, but it's funny. I mean, but yeah, I'm just wondering what's gonna happen because if we see him at Radio Row, I think we're gonna have to get him to sit down with us so Dan can talk to him.
Oh my God,
I think that'd be
I wouldn't be able to talk. I would just be there listening in awe. I would just want him to just go. I'd be like, just do.
He loves Carrot Top. Carrot Top might be at that Radio Row.
He loves Carrot Top. He loves Carrot Top. I might have been with you on Radio Row, and Carrot Top was there, and Carrot Top was sitting with our good friend Adam Hill for whatever reason, talking to him. And I took a picture of Adam and Carrot Top, and I texted it to Gruden, and he just responded, "LOL, love that guy." And again, it's like when you read his text, you can't just say it. You got to say it in his voice.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Dick Vitale. You got to talk in the Dick Vitale voice, baby. It's the same thing with Gruden. He's a character. He's a caricature, and yet what you see is what you get.
It's funny. Gilbert Manzano, obviously, he asked Adam, "Why did you have Carrot Top on?" He's like, "Why not?" He's like, "You guys should get him on. He's funny." And he's like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, you should talk to him." And we just weren't able to get him on, but he was like, "Wow." He's like, "You guys missed out on an opportunity there." So
yeah,
I
no
was
doubt.
just laughing. Paul, again, thank you so much for jumping on with us. The new Karate Kid movie coming out in May. Are you excited about it?
I'm very excited, and for no other reason than this. As we've discussed in confidence with each other, I'm actually a martial artist. I grew up with it. My dad still teaches. So like Shiloh and Shador, my dad's been my martial arts coach my entire life.
So are you a diva?
My daughter told me this. Apparently, my daughter's 16, and I guess if you end texts or emails with ... the ellipses, that makes you a diva. And I do that all the time. So she called me a diva. Apparently, it's a TikTok thing. So what I'm excited about with Karate Kid Legends is I want to see after 41 years has Ralph Macchio finally looked a little believable, because in Cobra Kai it's still not all that believable. And I still got kind of an attitude about it, because when the original Karate Kid came out in 1984, I was the right age to be in that role. I was actually a martial artist at 14 years old. I was doing it in South Pasadena, not far from the Valley, in Reseda. Allie with an I could have met Paul with an L, and my wife to this day still says, Amy tells me all the time, "Oh, you're just mad because you think you should have been the Karate Kid." I'm not mad because I should have been. I'm mad because I actually was, and they just miscast Ralph.
Well, and Ralph was what, 21 at the time when they casted him?
Ralph was 47 when they cast him as a 14-year-old dude.
Isn't it crazy the way they do that?
And I'm pretty good. I'm very friendly. I'm not gonna say I'm friends, but I'm very friendly with Yuji, who plays Chosen. Rich Ting, who's friends with that crew of guys too. Rich Ting was in Tulsa King recently. He played football. He was a quarterback at Yale in the early 2000s. He was in the Shannon Lee show Warrior. He played Bolo in that. He's coming to the game this Sunday. So it's interesting. I've been trying to tell all these people, I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm going to be 55 in March. I don't think I'd look 55, but I can still touch my toes. If you guys need to cast like a sports writer who also dabbles in the martial arts for any of these shows, I'm your guy.
Oh,
There you
that'd
go.
be awesome.
Perfect. Go do
I would
some
definitely love
throws,
that.
dude.
Especially get a Latino on there to kind of, typecast and get rid of the typecasting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Chosen is hilarious in that show.
Okay. There you go. I watched Karate Kid 2 the other day, and I'm like, my God, he was
I know.
scary.
I know.
And then
He went.
and now they kind of make him kind of the bumbling old kind of walking fool and whatever. Okay, we all get older, I guess. But he has Yuji Chosen has a restaurant. He has 2 restaurants, matter of fact. Kona Grill up in Seattle, and we went and ate dinner there when the Raiders played the Seahawks a couple years ago, and he sat with us and just shot the breeze. And then we were just talking about, oh my God, he was in Pearl Harbor, he was in Better Off Dead, he's been all over the place.
Yeah.
So at that time is when Daniel.
I think he was the dad in Johnny Tsunami also. So I remember him in the Disney Channel movie.
Yeah. So just a very cool guy, and again, he's a huge Raider fan. So that's something that Raider Nation will appreciate. Chosen is Raider Nation, and I've always said the Cobra Kai, the original Cobra Kais, that they had to have been. And I'll close it out with you guys on this. Had to be Raider fans, because when they put the beat down on Daniel on Halloween night.
Oh, yeah.
What jersey was Daniel wearing?
A Chargers jersey.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That is Paul Gutierrez. Paul, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Have a good weekend, and definitely appreciate you always jumping on with us and bringing the knowledge, whether it's in about the Sanders or about the Raiders or about mixed martial arts. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you so much, Paul.
My pleasure, guys.
Have a good one.
Thank you. That was Paul Gutierrez. He is the man we love, Paul. Definitely a lot of knowledge was dropped there. Dan, what do you think about where the Raiders could go next?
I was gonna by the way, before I get to that, we got 45 people in here. Hit the like button, comment, shout out to all you guys. I know it's early on a Friday, but where they're going next, I still think, I thought in the last hiring cycle it was hard for me to pass up on Pete and pass up on Mike. I just feel like those guys just, they're already proven that, they can win. And they have that, feel where I'm like, oh, yeah, they could totally do the Raider way. Obviously there was just a lot of question marks with AP, but, for Sunday, I'm hoping it's another situation where the Chargers get up big early, fourth quarter, let's bring in Taylor Heineke and all these guys. Because, again, if you're playing for something, let's let it rip then. Let's get everybody in there, play for the 5th seed. If you're not, I'm still of a believer that you got to sit Herbert, you got to sit Dobbins, get him as fresh as possible going into the first week of the playoffs. But, I guess we'll have to wait and see on Saturday. I'm just glad it's on Saturday and we'll know by the time Sunday happens.
Yeah. Jay, you're completely right. He was the dad in Cobra Kai or in Johnny Tsunami. R.I.P. Jet Jackson. I used to love watching the famous Jet Jackson. That was a great show growing up. I didn't know this. Johnny's grandpa was Shang Tsung in the first Mortal Kombat. I think he was also in Pearl Harbor. He was like a general or something in one of those movies. I just can't remember which one it was. Dan, before we continue, get up close to the screen because I wanted to show you something. What do you think of this play by Justin?
Oh, yeah. Dude, I just don't know how else to explain it to people. Like, the son of Odin's for real. Like, this is why I defend him so much or whatever. When we're talking about straight ability, what other quarterback is going to zip it in there in this tight of a window and get it caught? You know what I mean? How many guys don't get that picked off right there? I bet you Mahomes gets it picked off. I bet you Burrow might get it picked off.
The crazy part is that they were doing crossing routes, Ladd and Quentin.
Yeah.
But Ladd turns around. Like, he turns around and he's wide open.
Yeah, he looks for the hole in the zone. That's what he probably felt right there. And, or maybe that's the design of the play, but, I just don't know how people just slander my boy so much. I just don't understand it. The son of Odin's for real. And that's why, I think it was Angie. I don't remember who it was, but commented, just need J10 to win his first playoff game. 100%. I'm tired of listening to this slander. But Dansky said, I'll be at the game first time in Vegas. Shout out Dansky. Good luck. Have a good time. Be safe. But yeah, 100%. I just don't know why people slander my boy so much. Like, what are we even talking about? What are we doing?
Dan, what about this run play right here? I think that's that was Zion pulling.
Oh, there you go. Let's see this. Looks like a nice little counter. Yeah, they did just enough. That's the thing that I think has been the biggest problem for the Chargers in the run game. They don't generate a lot of movement. If you see, Joe Alt does. The right guard doesn't. That guy's name eludes me, and I hate that I don't know it. Oh, who's it?
Mustafa, Sam Mustafa.
Yeah,
he's the one that
Mustafa
started against the Chiefs in the.
Yeah, I remember the number. Yeah, but he had a hard time in that game. This one he does just enough, which I mean, shout out to him. But I mean, like again, when this team gets the right guys in there, the run game is going to be nasty. It's all about creating movement, and I think that's been the biggest problem sometimes that they have. They just don't generate movement at the point of attack. So,
do you feel like Scott Matlock has improved as time has gone by?
I think he has. Like, but that's why when people were like ripping him early, I was like, dude, like the guy's probably like the thing that people don't understand. He's probably played D tackle his whole life. He probably played maybe offensive line in high school, but like at college, he's not going both ways. So it's like obviously, especially playing a tight end role, basically, that stuff's going to take time. And I like. And this is the other thing, right? I like the experimentation with it. You know what I mean? Like, I like that they're like, okay, because they tried McFadden a few times. They're like, this guy's not really working. And it's like, okay, let's see who else we got. Scott, can you do it? And then he's done a solid job for the most part. I just think sometimes it's hard for him to kind of put on his offensive brain and understand, it's not just strike and shed. It's strike, move his ass. And, it's definitely like a lot different. I'm not even gonna lie. I like sometimes when they send him on routes. I just wish they would send him on shorter routes. You don't need he should be the check down guy. You know what I'm saying? He should be the check down guy. But like the way we opened up against Tampa and he gets a nice little short pass and he does the wiggle and he gets like 10 or 11 yards. That was hilarious and that was glorious right there.
I do agree with this. Both Madlock and Fisk are improving. Fisk got better. He's gotten better. And then they're both making catches and extending plays and everything. So I do think that they have both improved. Dan, I want to go to now this is your guy. I mean, there's no denying it that Derwin James and you have a bromance.
That's my dog.
He asked me about you yesterday. He's like, how's your brother doing? I was like, everything's good. He's
That's
like,
my
tell
dog.
So Dan, just watch Derwin on this play.
Oh, he's on the right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just a dog, dude. Like, I don't even know how else to explain it. It was funny, too. We saw some mic'd up thing yesterday, and Derwin, after the sack, comes off to the sideline and tells his coach, they need to quit blocking me with running backs. And I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
He feels the disrespect. Oh, that was
5.5 sacks this year, Dan.
As a DB.
I think he might be critical in the playoffs when it comes to trying to get him to sack.
Like, to me, honestly,
he creates that pressure.
Oh, yeah. But that's why, like, to me, honestly, when Perryman goes down or Perryman needs a break, Dye hasn't been bad. I think Junior Carlson has struggled a little bit more. But put Derwin in the box. Make him the other linebacker. Could you imagine him and Dayon Henley right there being the anchors of the front seven? Like, I think that would be nasty. But, I get they want to move him around, and he's probably the problem is you can't duplicate Derwin James. You can't have 5 guys out there with the number 3, jersey on. Because could you imagine that DB room, if it was just a bunch of, clones of him, that would be freaking elite.
Well, they have him playing safety. They have him playing nickel. They have him playing
he plays all over the field.
Essentially.
Yeah.
They have him playing numerous positions. And this year, it doesn't feel like in years past with Staley's defense, it felt like it was a lot for him. it
Yeah.
feels not a lot, but just because the talent wasn't there and the scheme
Yeah.
wasn't there,
Yeah.
now it feels like it's one of those things where he can do all those things because they have better talent around him. I mean, Tarheeb still,
Yeah.
Christian Fulton,
Cam Hart. Yeah. You know, it's funny too. Our boy Tony Jefferson, shout out. The funny thing is too is like him being able to move around in that element has to help out the defense also. You know what I mean? Where it's like you have to account for where this guy is at all times. And you know, I think part of it is also is that flexibility where you really never know where he's going to be. It's not like you can get in a routine in a game where it's like, oh, he's always back there. He's 15 yards off because he's playing safety or whatever. Like, no, you have to account for this guy. He walks in the box. He's at the line of scrimmage. He's, you know, the slot corner or whatever else. Like, and, you know, I've always loved Derwin, that versatility. Versatility's the name of the game.
Yeah.
He's just been awesome, man. He's been awesome.
Everybody, please pound the like button. Dan, did you know that the game that Dan fell in love with Justin Herbert was that Rose Bowl game? Well, before that Rose Bowl game, Herbert was asked by a media member if Jurassic Park could happen in real life, and this is what Herbert said.
God.
I don't think it'd be well kept for that long. I think you'd have a tough time extracting that for so long, but I don't think it'd be possible.
He just killed the hopes and dreams. He killed the hopes and dreams.
I just saw that clip.
Just like the opponents, right? He kills the hopes and dreams of every other team that faces him. Just like the team that's going to face him on Sunday.
Dan, should we end the show or what do you think?
I think it's a good time. I don't know. I think it's a good time.
Let's bring on our next guest. You guys have probably seen him all over social media. He likes to stir up Raider fans, Raider fans
and the Niners
fans and Cowboy fans. He loves to get everybody going. Let's bring him on. This is he's
back. The ultimate prize fighter Samoan show.
Joe Morley, how are you doing today?
What's going on, guys? Hey, is that how you're going to bring me on? No, when you bring me on, you acknowledge me. You acknowledge me right now.
What's the belt say? Is that fantasy football?
Yeah, we have a belt in our fantasy football league.
That's sick. Where'd you get it from?
Undisputed Belts. And you can,
there's only one guy that plays in that league, and it's Joe Morley, so that's why he has the belt.
Hey.
Let me throw up the one then, Joe. Let me acknowledge you.
You can't lose if you play against yourself, right?
Yeah, and people thought it was the Costco guys that were coming on.
No thanks. No thanks. Get the Tizzler. Get the, no thanks. Oh, Joe, don't do that. Come on, my guy. Don't do that.
I'll give you 5 big booms.
Oh, God. Did you text him before this to start this?
No. I didn't do any of this.
You're about to make me reference what wrestler that guy's going to become at some point.
No.
Allegedly.
Joe,
it just shows you that anybody has a shot in AEW, right?
I couldn't agree with you more, honestly. It's so crazy to me. Like, you're telling me, okay, like I understand when they brought in Logan Paul and everything else to WWE, but it's like Logan Paul's at least athletic. He's an athlete. He's younger.
He's 27 or 28 years old.
You're freaking this guy who's about to collect Social Security pretty soon, living off his kids. It's just crazy to me, dude.
So Joe, what are the state of the Raiders at right now? What is your thought process about Joe? Obviously, he's a huge Raider fan. He does a lot of great content. You guys should check it out. He literally kills it. He pisses off fans of all fan bases.
It's the best. Drop your Instagram handle, dude.
Yeah. What's your Instagram again?
Oh, the Joe Morley. That's it. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
You gotta acknowledge him.
Make sure you guys check him out. Yeah, we wanted to bring him on. It's Raider Week, and I told him, Joe, I promise you, Raider Week, we will bring you on, and he's back. He usually has the Make the Raiders Great Again hat, but
I was about to say, I'm surprised you're not wearing that hat.
Yeah, there you go. He's the guy that wears many hats. There it is.
There it is.
Now people are gonna recognize you.
I don't know if you want this one too. I don't.
What's that?
No one cares. That's a That's a sport for non-athletes. No one cares about that. I don't even care about that rivalry. Everyone like pisses their pants because I'm like, oh, it's Dodgers Padre week. I'm like, I'll try and go to a game. Maybe I'll catch a fight or something in the stands. But other than that, I don't care for it. I don't really care.
Well, and it's funny because Dan was actually hoping that the Dodgers would win the World Series because he has because of an undisclosed connection.
Undisclosed reason, undisclosed connection to the Dodgers. Yeah,
So he was hoping. That
By the way, I heard it was awesome.
The bookie.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was the guy he siphoned the millions to, or whatever. Dude. Allegedly, not true. Allegedly, I'm not trying to get the IRS rolling up on me.
But and your future quarterback Jalen Milroe just declared for the draft.
Dude, if that's your future quarterback, buddy, you're gonna have a hard time. And let me tell you something else. I have seen who's at the helm for 11 years, and you are in for some rough spots, my guy. You know, the only hope I have is that when Telesco was our GM, we saw the Broncos dominate, win a Super Bowl. We saw the Chiefs rebuild, dominate, win, obviously, the Super Bowls that have happened. Now I'm hoping, because he's over there with you, you're going to see the Chargers rebuild and dominate and win a couple Super Bowls. And then other than that, we'll see what happens. Who cares about the Broncos at this point?
Why are you putting Tommy T down? You're benefiting from Tommy Telesco right now.
I am.
This is like John Gruden going to Tampa Bay and winning a Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's team. That's what John Harbaugh's doing.
Wow. You came in hot trying to slander Gruden? That's wild.
Hey, he ain't the coach right now. I can slander whoever I want. But if he becomes a Raider coach again, hey, what's up, Gruden? Good job.
Can we shoot a couple videos together?
Yeah, for real. Got you feeling nicey.
Yeah. Yeah, Gruden. I think Gruden would be dumb to leave Barstool Sports. He's doing a great job over there, but I understand if he wants to coach. But
hey, that's the same thing that we said when he was at Monday Night Football. He did it for so long, and he was so great. Like, why would you leave? Now, if he could implement what he's been doing at Barstool over at Monday Night Football, that would have been great too. Just because he's so animated. Like before, I don't think he wanted to buy into the Chucky aspect of it. And I think with Barstool, he's really bought in, and now he really is Chucky.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. But going back to Milroe, every quarterback in this draft is a Raider quarterback, right? Like that's I mean, 2 weeks
Joe
ago,
Morley had a mock
cried
draft
because
the other
we
day
did
of them drafting a quarterback in every single round.
Yeah, that's how they got to do. They just got to sign every quarterback this offseason and just bring him in and be like, all right, one of you guys are going to get this. One of you guys will win this job. But Milroe, great athletics, but you got to work on his arm. Like, I think he would benefit from going back to college one more year.
Vision.
But he won't
Oh,
do it.
yeah.
Same thing with Ewers. I would love to see Ewers go to Oregon next year and just transfer over there and play.
I think he's going to go to Notre Dame.
But for the Raiders, like, did you not watch the game last night? Did you not watch Jackson Dart? Like, Lane Kiffin, bring Lane Kiffin back to the Raiders with Jackson Dart. Like, could you imagine Lane Kiffin in Las Vegas? Like, woo, would be a partying it up, man.
Oh my God.
You'll be hanging out with the fans.
And then him going at that guy that was like, hey, if I win the game, if you guys don't get the spread, I get to go on a Chili's date with your daughter. And he actually responded. I was like, oh my God, I was surprised he responded. And he's like, she doesn't like Chili's. He's like, well, what if you guys don't cover the spread? Can I go get a beer with you? And then the daughter responds and goes, he doesn't like beer. I'm like, what is going on? Like, what are we doing?
Like, what?
Yeah, I'm like, why are you guys all responding to this random guy?
I don't know. They're bored. There's not a lot to do in Mississippi, apparently. But let me ask you a quick question, honestly. So I understand all the hype behind when Rich Bisaccia was there and he made the playoffs, lost the playoff game. And I understand you guys passed up on him. The Josh McDaniels hire, I didn't really understand, but whatever. Now you fast forward, he's gone, and you kind of try and right a wrong by keeping AP. But, like, you know, personally, just trying to be neutral, I find it hard to believe you guys passed up on Bill, Pete, and Mike. Like, you as a Raider fan, like, were you hyped that you got AP? Obviously, we've seen how the season gone, and that's something else. But, like, how are you feeling now in terms of all that stuff with, you know, how everything's played out?
We're talking about Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, and Pete Carroll? Is that who
before the season.
So the Raiders missed out on him last year?
Yeah. This past
Where are they
yeah.
coaching at? Where are they coaching at right now?
That's crazy. Are you serious?
I mean, North Carolina came up, I guess. I mean, if you're a 23-year-old student, watch out because Bill's on the fly.
About to raid all them sorority houses. So are you backing are you backing AP then to stay for next year?
I go back and forth on it. Like, this is what I told, like, last year when the Raiders were going through their process, I told them, like, I would make videos about it, and I would say the Raiders need to bring in other head coaching candidates and at least interview them, because everybody likes to throw Al Davis out there. They like to talk about what Al Davis would have done. This is what Al Davis. You know what Al Davis does? He interviews people just to interview them. Like, he would have brought Harbaugh in knowing that he's going to hire AP just to see what his mindset is and what he would talk about the Raiders, and then take that and use it again. It's self-scouting. You self-scout. You bring in – this is the one time when you're doing a head coaching search, this is the one time you bring in every single buddy because you're self-scouting against your own team, no matter who you're going to hire. But the Raiders were in a bad predicament last year where Josh McDaniels screwed this team up, and he screwed the fans up. He screwed the mental ability of every player. Like, he just took everybody down to where you were showing up to the games and you were like, we don't even have a chance. We're going to lose today and it's going to be ugly. Like, and it was just bad. Like, so AP brought us back up. And this is what I tell Raider fans last year. Where was all the people crying about tanking for draft picks last year when AP took over? No, you were all excited, and we were winning meaningless games last year with AP. Yeah. But just because he came in driving his El Camino or whatever, what does he drive?
El Camino.
That everybody was like, okay, cool. So then when AP went to the offseason, it was like Max Crosby, Devontae Adams. We're not supposed to talk about him anymore, right? They were all like, you need to hire our guy. This is our guy. So I said, Mark Davis is in a win-win situation for himself. You hire AP because the fans and the players want him. And if he doesn't work out, you fire him and you get the coach that you want. But you say, hey, I worked on it, because everybody's going to bring up Rich Bisaccia and they're going to say, hey, why didn't it work out? So if you would have hired anybody else besides AP and we had the same season, you would be getting killed. But right now, Mark Davis is looking like, hey, I tried. I gave you the guy you guys wanted. Now I'm bringing my guys in.
Yeah. Well, and let me ask you. I mean, now you're happy with the Brock Bowers pick, I'm guessing.
Look, I'll get killed for this all day, and I don't really care. Brock Bowers, I never said anything bad about Brock Bowers' ability. But if you're out there preaching like AP was preaching, like, we're going to be a tough, physical run team, we're going to smack you in the mouth on defense, and then you're a number one pick when you have every defensive player on the board and you have some offensive linemen on the board, and you go, we're going to take a tight end. Did that not just switch your whole team? That right there, and then you show AP in the draft room, and he's like, and then the rumors come out, that they did a coin flip for a defensive back or Brock Bowers. Remember that? And it's like it just went away from. It just showed you who's running the team. Tom Telesco's running the team over AP.
Bro,
every
I'm telling you,
after that has been Tom Telesco.
I'm
because
telling
if
you,
AP was making that draft pick, Brock Bowers is not on this team now. What Brock Bowers has done with the Raiders has been amazing, and everybody loves it. And everybody's
quarterbacks.
But when you're 35% of the offense and you have nobody else to throw to, your numbers are going to be inflated just a little bit. I'm not knocking Brock Bowers because
I know.
We see how great he is. But did that pick not change the culture of the Raiders? Like, if you were going to be a physical run team, you're going to tell me if they didn't have another offensive lineman, they wouldn't be running a lot more. The running game wouldn't have kicked off a little bit more. I mean, but you still had Luke Getsy, so I don't.
Christian, that's why we wanted to bring Joe on. Joe's our favorite Raider fan. He is definitely the best. He'll give it to you. He'll give it to you straight up. So that's why that's why we asked him to jump on and
what's up, Robert D?
See what his thought process is
100%
on the Raiders moving forward. I mean, so you think they're gonna, because we talked to Paul, and Paul said that he, like, in his mind, he wouldn't be surprised if AP came back. He wouldn't be surprised if John Gruden was the coach. He wouldn't be surprised if somebody else like it's just so unpredictable right now, because you don't know where Tom Telesco's at when it comes to like, is he the one that they think they want to keep for the future? Is it AP? Because I mean, you just don't know what the thought process is of Mark Davis. Hell, I don't even think Mark Davis on January 3rd at 9:56 a.m. knows what he's doing
for real.
with the future of his team. But I think a lot is going to go on if they can win on Sunday as well.
Well, let me tell you this. Raider fans want to live in a mansion, right? We all see everybody else living in a mansion. But right now, we have we don't even have the house built. We have a bunch of wood and no nails. And we have a bunch of blind construction workers trying to build this damn thing. Like, I'm just throwing it out there. Like, I don't think we have a plan. Like
no.
And this goes back to when they got rid of Derek Carr. It's like you don't have a plan for the top quarterback position. But I don't have a problem with AP coming back. I don't have a problem with you giving AP another shot. But if you can get a better coach, you have to go after like the guys you named earlier. And here's one that people got pissed off at me yesterday because I said it's Mike Vrabel, it's Pete Carroll, it's Mike McCarthy. If you think about him, because there's a reason Mike McCarthy hasn't re-signed with Dallas because
you guys would be twins.
I would dress like Mike McCarthy every day if he became head coach.
Do you really want Big Mike though?
What are we looking for? We're looking to turn the franchise around. Mike McCarthy has proven that he is able to do that. And he's proven that he's able to deal with big egos like Jerry Jones, like Aaron Rodgers, like
Dak Prescott.
He's been able to turn your franchise. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. And I'll take 12 wins a season with Mike McCarthy just to be able to turn the culture around. Like, I know a lot of Raider fans like, we need Liam Cohen. We need Ben Johnson. Those two will get their ass kicked in this division. You might go into training camp and we're going to hear Paul Gutierrez, who you guys had earlier, or my guy Hondo be talking about, the Raiders offense is looking really good. The quarterbacks are looking good. Yeah, until they play some real damn games. And then the offensive coordinator, whose job is to only come in and fix the offense, is now dealing with the Vegas atmosphere and the players getting in trouble and in the off field. And now he's like, oh, shit, what am I doing?
I gave it to you straight. When I went to the two practices that I went to, I told you neither one of them looked impressive to me. So
that's why they should have started AOC.
And they kept on jumping, like Jack Jones kept on jumping routes and picking. Like I think Jack Jones had like 11 picks during training. In the two practices that I was there, he had like 3 just because he kept on jumping routes. And I'm like, holy crap! I'm like, what is this doing? So.
Let me ask you something real quick based off this comment. Greenog says, I don't think Mark Davis will want to deal with Vrabel. That leads me into my next point about Brady. Can you just talk about that? How big of a role do you think he's going to play? How big of a role as a fan would you want him to play? Do you
trust him to be able to draft a quarterback knowing that in the past guys like what's his name? John Elway weren't able to do it, and there's been other guys that haven't been able to do that with quarterbacks?
Well, Tom Brady told us Jimmy G sucked when he was on the Patriots, right? Got his ass out of there. So
he must
tells me
something.
all I need to know.
Yeah,
like we would have never had Jimmy G to the experiment last year. But no, to be honest, I think he's gonna have a big say. Like he's only little less than 5% owner, but it's gonna be. I think they're looking to get him bigger and bigger, and hey, let's face it, Mark Davis has no kids, he has no family, right? So if something was to happen to him or his mom, you would think that they're setting this up for the future. That Tom Brady will be, and wouldn't the NFL love that their greatest quarterback ever to be a head coach or an owner? Like, I think that he's going to move more and more in and try to buy more and more as he goes on. That's just me, my personal opinion. I have nothing about it. Like. Tom Brady texted me the other day, but he didn't say anything. We didn't talk about that. We were just talking about his life and stuff. But I think it's more like
I'm so angry that Gisele's marrying and is pregnant by her
the trainer.
Yoga instructor. Joe, what do you think about this?
I think they're very serious about this, and Tom's going to come in there with an attitude. But Tom Brady, and this is what I also tell Raider fans, is Tom Brady has been very critical of the NFL and the way that they are treating rookie quarterbacks. So like a lot of Raider fans want rookie quarterback this year, but I'm like, next year there's going to be a veteran starting that, and then if you listen to Tom Brady and he preaches and talks what he preaches, like he says that you don't have enough time to get a rookie quarterback ready anymore, that they have to dummy down the playbook just from the draft to the regular season to get that guy ready, and it hurts his growth. So even if they did take whoever they take, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, whoever they take this draft, you would think that if Tom Brady actually has a say on who the quarterback is, he's bringing a veteran in, and he's bringing that other guy in and making him learn.
So you think it could be Joe Flacco? Joe Flacco? Would you be good with Joe Flacco? Have him sit behind Joe Flacco? What about Carson Wentz off of quarterback rehab, maybe with Kansas City?
I mean, I think Carson Wentz would be good. Like, yeah, you bringing him over from the rival. But I mean, my dream guy would be in Vegas would be Jameis Winston, just because I love the quotes and I love the way he talks.
But like the crazy.
But I don't know if he's going to win games. But
yeah,
just the content I can get from Winston alone would be amazing.
I think he gives you a chance with throwing the football. Like the thing that people like, it's crazy to me that people recently, when he was with the Browns, they're like, what did they say? He needs to be a starter. He needs to be a starter. Everybody knew he could throw the football. You remember the year he led in completions, passing, touchdowns, but he also led in interceptions, the 30 for 30 season. Like everyone knows the guy can pass. Like the problem is he doesn't take care of the football. That's his biggest problem. But yeah, you're right. That would, because like you guys do have some weapons, obviously, but it's like you just don't have somebody who can sling it to him.
I just wonder if Shedeur's going to want to, like, if he's and Deion's going to be okay with Shedeur sitting behind one of these guys. And
I think if Brady tells him, he will.
Well, I think that's the main thing. I think I heard it earlier from you guys, but I think that's the main thing that's hurting Shedeur with the fans is how much Deion is going to say, because he's already talking crap on there. But that's like like when you're watching the games, like you could still like Shedeur has the talent. He's good. He'll be all right. But it's like what comes with them in the offseason or everything else that comes with them. Like that's the main thing. He'll sell your jerseys. He'll play the game, and he'll be competitive. But are we going to deal with the off-field stuff too? I don't want to do that. And like everybody's what's the word they always say? He's a trouble. I'm like he comes with problems. I'm like, but the problems they're good problems. It's not like he's out there getting in trouble or anything.
Yeah. It's just it's just
PR problems.
Would you be okay with if like Deion told him, okay, you drafted Shedeur, now you have to draft Shiloh? You okay with that?
I mean, we'll draft him and cut him 6 months later. Don't matter.
Joe, we have
like Shiloh. Yeah, we ain't. Yeah, you draft him. We'll trade for a irrelevant pick, and then go ahead.
Joe, we have a surprise for you. We have one of your teammates on here. I texted him and I'm like, hey, we want to get you on here. Joe's gonna be on here. Let's bring him in. Let us bring in NFL Mike.
I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy.
Let's go! What a turn!
First of all, I don't have
teammates. The whole thing out. Play the whole thing out.
Did you hear what he said? He doesn't have teammates.
Oh yeah, we're enemies.
How can you have a rival when you beat him every year, bro? Like it's not even a big deal. What are we even doing?
It's not even really a rivalry at that point, right?
It's not.
I just jumped in here and heard you guys talking about Sanders. That's my favorite topic, actually.
If I'm going to be around 3 Charger fans, I got to change my appearance.
3? I'm not a Charger fan, you dumbass.
Now we got Shawn Michaels and the McDonald's Undertaker.
Oh.
Okay. I didn't mean to take that much.
McDonald's Undertaker is better than what Damian Priest has been called.
Oh, that one was hilarious, dude. I'm not even gonna lie. That's why I love Drew. Drew just lets it rip, dude. Let's let it rip.
Mike, how are you feeling? I mean, clinch a playoff berth, back going into the playoffs. Like, how excited are you about the Jim Harbaugh era? Oh, look at that hat or that shirt that he's wearing.
Right. Beautiful. This is beautiful.
Oh, the shirt.
Oh, the shirt. Yeah. Also, a beautiful shirt, by the way. See that?
Shout out.
See that? Beautiful Justin Herbert. But
son
yeah,
of Odin.
I'm excited, man. It's been a fun season for Chargers fans. And I've been at all the games. It's not just been me, too. Everyone is going crazy right now.
Joe Morley, too?
And Joe will call them bandwagon fans, but they're all just coming from San Diego, man. We finally got something on the field that makes it worth it to drive those 2 hours and go crazy for the Chargers for an entire day.
So what do you call? You just call them dormant fans? Like they've been dormant. They're not bandwagon. They're just dormant. They were waiting.
It's the same thing and the same issues that the Raiders fans have in Vegas, but they just don't want to admit that it applies to Los Angeles too.
The Rams have it too.
Yeah, the Rams.
See, the Raider fans are different. We don't hide when the Raiders lose. We just get in fights and go to jail, and we don't have social media anymore.
I don't know, dude. I've seen a few times where the Raiders have had issues with a lot more of the opposing fans there, but obviously the NFL doesn't want to talk about that. They only want to talk about that when it's the Chargers, so it's kind of weird.
Not anymore, baby. Not anymore.
Build it, they will come.
He's looking for a Justin Herbert shirt. Why don't you let him know where they could find a Justin Herbert shirt at?
You can find one at fitdown.shop. It's up, it's running, it's there. If you guys want to get it, I should have the shirt right here, but it's in the other room.
Why would anybody want to wear a Justin Herbert shirt?
Hey, I get it. I get it.
On you all the time.
Hey, this is a bolt up program. All right.
You have to understand, he's just sour because he has Smoking Joe and all these randos in the backfield for him over there who probably can't even win the flag football game for anybody. You think you guys could win a few games, 4 more games if it was flag football or no?
Flag football?
Oh, for sure.
The Raiders?
Hey, congratulations on the Chargers for playing 1 extra week more. Wow.
The Chargers are going to be playing more than 1 extra week, Joe, and Joe knows it.
You're
too.
not going to play.
That's why he's the guy.
He hates on the teams. He hates on the teams that he likes the most, secretly deep down inside. That's one of his favorite college teams.
Behind you,
Joe Morley, all the way out there in the desert. What's your favorite college team?
Shut up, Mike.
Notre Dame.
Let me tell you this.
Quack.
My favorite college team is the Oregon Ducks, the number 1 team in the nation that got screwed over by this new college playoffs.
I think it's screwed.
Hey, but the good thing for all of us on the screen is the trend that we've been seeing. I hope it happens in the NFL too, because every college team that was able to sit there the last time Georgia played and the last time Oregon played and all these teams that got beat were December 7th. They were all rested for 3 weeks. And then they had to play a team that just played last week and got beat. So you know who's on track to do that this year? The Kansas City Chiefs. And they're going to sit everybody for 24 days.
That's, I think, what all three of you guys, fans from different teams, I feel like that's where you guys can all unite in. Everybody wants the Chiefs gone.
Who knows? Joe might want to do a TikTok with Jackson Mahomes. We'll see, though.
I have a fake Mahomes.
Call me. I would. We'll be knocking it out.
I think that would go viral, too. Just for my expertise, I think virality is going on in the corner.
Yeah, no kidding about that. But Mike, what you just said earlier is what I have been telling Dan and other Charger fans throughout the offseason is that Jim Harbaugh is kind of that bridge between San Diego and LA, where some fans did come back because they're like, oh, well, that's a San Diego guy. Like Jim was here his last 2 years in San Diego. He was the USD head coach. Then he went on to Stanford, 49ers, Michigan, and now back to the Chargers. And I feel like he kind of is that bridge. And that's what I understand. And that's what I'm getting from most Charger fans is that from San Diego, a lot of Charger fans are back. I mean, for people to say that there's no Charger fans in San Diego, that's not true. There's a lot of Charger fans in San Diego that are making the drive up. I mean, when Dan and I drive up to games or I drive up with Eric Williams or other people, we always see Charger fans on the road driving up the 5, going up to Inglewood because they want to go see the Chargers play, and they're still huge fans.
Well, you see the turnout for training camps. That's what I've always seen. Like, man, the turnout for training camps is always insane. You have to shoulder to shoulder it.
There's always a Raider fan there too. I always see a Raider fan there at Chargers
weird
camp,
taking up like 3 seats.
We can't go to our own damn training camp.
Yeah, you can't even get in. You can't even get into the Raiders training camp. They got security at the door. Like, no, you can't get in.
And then when we do, we bring Kermit the Frog puppets.
then you get banned for life. But yeah, you saw the buzz, and I didn't think that casual bandwagon Charger fans were taking Wednesdays off in the middle of their week to go watch the Chargers practice.
First of all,
the buzz was already there before.
There you go, Joe.
Joe, you want to hit us with one? You want to hit us with one, Joe?
Yeah. Raiders.
There you go. Enjoy a top 10 pick, my guy.
Maybe. Maybe Easton Stick might get in this
maybe.
game. Easton Stick might get in this game.
Maybe we'll see how that goes. I was gonna say also going to Fernando's point. Personally, as a San Diego guy, I never cared that. I understand it's different for me. I never had season tickets. I saw all the games at home, so it's no different for me watching it at home. They're here. They're in LA. My biggest problem, they're okay with losing. That was my problem. They were just fine with losing. Yeah. Now that they're serious about winning, obviously, like winning cures all ailments in sports. And Robert D. Winning cures all ailments in sports, and it makes everybody come out from the hills. You know what I mean? Like that's my biggest thing.
That was my next point. I was gonna say was that just as much as Jim Harbaugh gets credit, maybe Jim Harbaugh deserves most of the credit. We got to give some credit to whoever made the picks on this draft class, because this draft class is what's responsible for turning the Chargers around so quickly, more so than anything. And the players that they got in this class deep in the draft have allowed us to have the defense we have, in my personal opinion.
Yeah. No, and don't worry, Joe doesn't understand that yet, but just wait till he gets another Tommy T draft. He's going to understand how that goes.
Joe Ortiz and Chad Alexander were the biggest reasons of why this draft was so good. They really have hit it out of the park. And then there's still other guys that you don't know what they are yet. The kid out of Alabama, the 4th round pick. There's other guys that they just don't know. What's Joe laughing at?
No, because Joe's a smart guy. Joe's a smart guy, and he knows how bad Tom Telesco is, but he's gonna sit here and yell Raiders into his microphone anyways. So he got Duper's Delight. You know what Duper's Delight is? That's why he's smiling.
Just wait, dude. You have no idea. Just wait. But there you go. Good.
Joker says, did you hear what happened after the Raiders finally won the AFC West? The kid turned the PlayStation off for dinner.
I mean, last time I checked, you guys just dust the shelves in your trophy place. We actually have like 3 trophies. They might be old, but we can dust them off.
Did you see any of those personally or no?
Oh, I've seen the trophies.
No.
He's asking if you're old enough to know. Like, did you ever?
Did you watch those? Did you watch
the replay? He watched the replay.
Yeah, I have watched every. Hey,
on VHS, LMAO.
This how
his dad showed him the flip book. His dad made a flip picture book of it.
So here's how big of a Raider fan I am. Right, the Raiders played the Minnesota Vikings in the Super Bowl. Right, before I was born. The guy who fumbled going into the end zone to change the whole game, his name was Brent McClanahan. Brent McClanahan ended up being my high school teacher in one of my classes. One day, Brent McClanahan tried to run his mouth. Me being a guy that runs my mouth as well, said, hey, at least I didn't fumble in the Super Bowl, right?
As a student.
Let's just say I got kicked out of that class.
As a student.
Oh, my God.
I learned a valuable lesson that day, but yeah. Well, that's what you do. But yeah, have I? The only thing I've seen the hey, I have the same.
Ever. This is his first time ever, but this guy's hilarious. He's like sat there on Papa's lap like Rose from the Titanic. It's been 84 years. That's hilarious.
Hey, that's the one thing that Charger fans and Raider fans have in common, right? That we've seen our teams in the Super Bowl. Like, we haven't seen a win, but we've seen our team get their ass kicked in the Super Bowl. Like, both the last times the Chargers were in the Super Bowl and the Raiders were in the Super Bowl.
Did you go to that Super Bowl in 2002 or no?
Did I go to it?
Yeah.
No, dude, I grew up. My parents didn't have no money.
Oh, well, I didn't know. You might have won the tickets doing some contest or pie
I was down there. I would have rather gone with Barrett Robbins.
Oh, the guy the center that went to Tijuana
got lost before the game.
Oh my God!
You've never heard that story, Mike?
I think I've briefly heard it. Like,
the center of the Raiders went down to Tijuana during one of their days, and he got lost in the sauce, and he thought he was celebrating a Super Bowl win. He thought they had won already. They couldn't find him. His wife nobody could find him.
Yeah, it was in San Diego that year or something.
It was in San Diego, the 2002 when they lost to Tampa, but he went down to Tijuana and he just got lost in the sauce. Finally, like after a couple of, I think it was days or weeks, he finally realized, oh crap. He wakes up and he like finally appears, but he woke up I think there was a song, I woke up in Tijuana or something like that, but he actually woke up in Tijuana, and
that would have never happened. That would have never happened on John Gruden's watch. I'll tell you that right now. John Gruden was on the other sideline. The Raiders would have never kicked him out of town. They would have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Joe was a Niners fan back then.
Oh, are you hiding make the Niners great again and we haven't seen it yet or what?
No, I could say right now I have never dated a guy, so
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
My God.
Which fan base do you like pissing off more, Cowboys or 49ers?
I like both, but 49ers are more sensitive. So it's like they cry, like you can really get to them. Like Cowboy fans laugh it off, and it's like they're fun to play with. But Niner fans, like they can't take it. Like you hit them right in the feels, and you can just see the tears coming. And it's like
I love when they try and attack your weight. Like the other day, I came out and I was like, "Oh, Jaden Daniels is good, but I don't think he's nothing to write home about. I've seen this before. It's RG3." So obviously, the first thing that people do is attack my weight, and I'm like, "Dude, this is like." It's funny that that's the first thing that they can go off
because
of
they have no argument. They have no
Yeah.
idea when they attack physical features. They have no idea. They have
Yeah.
nothing between the earpieces or nothing between the ears to like really come back at anybody.
You gotta have an
100%.
understanding. Gotta have an understanding with comments when they send them at you. Is that they don't expect you to read them. Like they don't know
Yeah.
that you actually see them. They don't expect you to respond back. So they
Oh,
think that think they're talking to like
wall.
a forum. They think it's Reddit, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
not.
Well, some guy was like, "Oh, you should." I bet you got a cookie after this. I was like, "Oh, I actually got 2 of them."
Didn't
or something.
reply.
I can't
The guy didn't reply.
Yeah.
The guy didn't reply. It was hilarious. But
that's the best thing. Like that's what I always say. If you're attacking you personally of what you look like, then they have no other comeback. Like you won the argument no matter what. And
One
it's
time
funny
when
because
Joe-
I
when
love
Joe posts
I love
his
talking
DMs.
crap back.
One
But
time
I've
a
been
Raider fan.
threatened.
One time a Raider fan told me my teeth looked like the Chargers logo. That's how crooked they were.
What were you gonna say, Joe?
stupid.
That's commitment. That's commitment, Mike, of being a fan that he went out there and got your
I'll be
teeth
fine,
done.
yeah, I got a tattoo as well.
No, like that's the one thing about being a content creator, I guess, which is tough. It's hard, and I think we've all been through it. Like everybody who's been through it. Like you get a lot of hate comments online. You get a lot. I've been threatened.
Oh, geez.
all online. But when you actually go out in public and you talk to these people, you find that there's more love than there's actually hate. So everybody that does like the hate ones, you just gotta laugh at it. And if you're ever like trying to be a content creator, that's the one thing that you have to get over is the comments. It's like,
Oh yeah.
you just gotta remember these guys. They're doing exactly what we do. We just have a camera in our mom's basement.
Yeah, it's like a tailgate vibes, man. The majority of the people are just there having fun.
Oh yeah,
it's
they're
like
just
the
shooting
tailgate
the
vibes.
shit.
Yeah, then there's that small percentage that's just drunk, wasted, and just
Yeah.
doing vulgar, unnecessary things.
Mike, 5th pick, I'm guessing, is what you want also. My brother wants a 5th pick. You want the 5th pick as well? Or fifth
Seed,
spot,
seed.
5th seed?
Oh yeah. I want the 5th seed, but I would be excited to see the Hard Bowl again. I think that there's like a unique chance when you get a rematch against a really good team for an upset. So I would like to see the Ravens again too, either Ravens or Texans. But I think that the Steelers are going to lose to the Bengals, and then the Chargers are just going to absolutely mop the floor with the Raiders.
You think
Joe-
it's going to be
Joe's
a little?
smiling.
Could you imagine, Joe? Seriously, how hilarious would this be? The irony that you beat us last year 63-21, and we beat you this year 63-21. What's the common factor there?
Well, if that's where AP would get fired. If you get your ass kicked this weekend, they're done. You're 100% done.
I'm just interested to see what's going to happen with Tom in that sense. Like if AP gets fired, I mean, they're probably going to have to let Tom go as well and just start over. But who knows if they're going to want to start over?
But as a Charger fan, if the Raiders win this weekend, we're gonna be talking so much crap. This is a playoff team. This is a playoff team.
So, but what if
Want to be Taylor Heineke?
What if it's Taylor Heineke?
Yeah, it's not going to be.
It doesn't matter who it is. You saw what we did with Easton Stick.
Oh man, this is the
why-
same.
why I
This is
love
the same
Joe.
Chargers. This is the same
This
Chargers.
is the last game the Raider fans have for 6 months. This is it. Like so,
And they're
if we
still
win
going to
this
root for
game,
them to
that's all we're
lose.
talking
They're still
about.
going to root for them to lose the game. It's their last game.
Hey,
You wouldn't want a higher draft pick, dude?
Who, me?
No, I'm talking about
Joe.
You wouldn't want a higher draft pick?
no, I would always love a higher draft pick. Like, no, I think you're stupid if you don't say you want a higher draft pick. But I want wins too, and I'm gonna worry about the offseason when the offseason comes. So if the Raiders need to trade up and get who they, I don't want you to.
Buddy,
I don't
they're
want
not
you
going
to
to trade up.
determine-
You know this guy. He's not going to trade up for anything.
No, and I'm good with that. But I don't want you to determine who you're drafting right now in December or November. I want you to go through the whole draft process. Like I texted, I already told you guys about Dart last night. I texted Mike and Tony last night, and I said, if you put Dart at the combine in front of all these scouts, he's going to be a first-round pick by the end of the process. Like, we don't know how these prospects are going to be until you put them in front of people. You put them in, you get the scouts right there talking to them. This whole draft and mock drafts and all that is going to change by the time you get there. So, and who's to say that? And this is what I tell Raider fans, like, they're all losing their minds, and they're like, we lost out on this and this. I go, we haven't lost out on crap. The draft hasn't even started yet. Like, when the draft happens, then we could talk about it. But you don't know who's going number one. We could assume who's going number one. Or you could, like, they're like, we're going to lose out on all these blue chip prospects. Are you telling me that what blue chip prospects? You could tell me right now, you can guarantee what players are going to be badasses by the end of the year? Like, no, come on.
We joke about Tom Telesco, but I have like a weird feeling that Tom Telesco is like trying to go with the opposite of what he did with the Chargers now. Now he's come here and he's going discount at QB. He's not being aggressive to go and get a quarterback when they were like really sure about locking down Phil all those times and locking down Justin and everything. So I feel like he's going to go opposite, and I think he is going to trade up. I think he is going to trade up. I think Tom Telesco is going to trade up inside the top 5 and get a quarterback.
You know, the crazy part is that Tom went out a couple of years ago. I remember Tom wanted Ndamukong Suh. He was a big free agent. He wanted to go get him. Everybody, please pound the like button right now. We got a bunch of people in here. Please pound the like button. They wanted Ndamukong Suh. They weren't able to get him. I don't think Miami just paid an absurd amount. He got Christian Wilkins this year. He made up for it. Got Christian Wilkins. I wouldn't doubt that he maybe trades up this year and actually tries to go get a quarterback. But I actually agree with Joe. I think Jackson Dart is exactly what the Raiders should be wanting. Just because Shador, like, I love, like, Joe already told Gilbert this. The Raiders draft Shador Sanders. We're not going to the Chargers press conference after or the Rams or whatever. We're driving out to Vegas, and I want to be there for when or when he comes out and he talks about that. I definitely want to see what Shador has to say, especially because it'd be everybody coming in there with him. So I definitely would be interesting. But I wouldn't doubt that Tom does try and, especially if Mark tells him, hey, this is your last chance. Like, that's
what I'll say. That's what I was thinking. He's gonna be desperate. He's gonna be desperate.
He could be hitting like that last year where he hit that Hail Mary and they traded for, they backloaded everybody's contract and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say the trade back into the first round for Kenneth Murray. My God.
No.
That Q1 pick is really.
Oh, my God.
Hey.
Yeah.
Q1 is a good pick. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Well, he might be on the Raiders one day. So that works out.
I don't know why everybody. I've tried to tell people that I don't think Quentin's that bad. Like, he's I
don't think he's that bad either. I just think. Yeah. He's not like Zay Flowers.
I think he's been I think he's been a lot better this year than he was as a rookie, and I think that's just the confidence that the Chargers have shown in him.
Well, that's great.
He's wide open all the time. He gets the ball. He just can't hold on to it.
Yeah. But that's my thing, right? Like, it's just obviously it's the sticker shock of a first round pick, and on top of that, like, it's the most basic thing. If he, can't catch in traffic, all right, but sometimes he has like a 2 to 3 yard radius around him, and he drops the football. That's a problem. Single-handed. I was sorry. I don't want to say single-handedly, but he played a role in them not beating the Ravens on Monday Night Football or whenever it was, 100%. You can't tell me otherwise. He catches two or three of those balls, they probably win the game. And it's like the other thing is, too, he can't catch with his hands. And you saw that on Saturday, whenever they played the Patriots. He can't do this and grab it. Like, that's a problem.
The other day, somebody got mad at Dan in the comments. They were like, are you kidding? Like, what did he say? He said, who cares if they body catch as long as they're catching the ball?
Yeah, like what an idiot. Some jackass commented that. And I'm like, dude, that tells you it's bad technique. It works now because he's open facing the quarterback. But like if he's not exactly.
What DB started to do is they take away the lower half of your body if they know you can't catch with their hands up. So they don't have to worry.
I don't know if you know this, but a couple of weeks ago, when did I use it, Dan? I used his combine video, Joe Morley. Oh, when they were down, when Devontae Adams left, I was like, don't worry, Raider fans, you have somebody out there ready for you. And I showed your combine video and fans loved it.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yes, big hands too.
Yeah. Oh, he's ready to roll.
No, I got small hands.
Oh, really? So you're Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett hands.
Hey, Kenny Pickett had a great throw the other day.
Oh, come on.
No, that was the backup. What's his name? The other guy. That was the second one. The second guy.
The third one.
It.
But you get out of here.
Kenny Pickett's the one that held onto the ball and dropped.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Get out of here, dude. You could put, Ray Charles out there with that team and he'll sling it to everybody. Like, my God, they have Devontae Smith, they have AJ Brown, they have some studs out there. Saquon.
Dallas Goedert just got reinstated. So
yeah, exactly. Put the son of Odin out there. He's throwing for 10,000 yards, dude. With that
Joe,
team.
would you want a quarterback like Justin Herbert on your team?
Yeah, somebody that plays like 13 games a season. That's awesome.
This man wanted Bo Nix. That's not even true. That's not even true. He just told a lie in front of everybody.
Oh, he's just angry.
Okay,
he's lashing out.
So, Mike, who's the one quarterback that I threw out there last year that I wanted the Raiders to draft, and the Raider fans killed me? It was Bo Nix.
Bo Nix, yeah, Herbert wannabe.
And they were like, "No, he's not good." Raider fans told me all last year he was not good.
Well, they were right.
At the beginning of the season, the first or second week of college football, I said, Raider fans, we're going to need a new quarterback because unless Minshew has an amazing season, we're going to need a quarterback. So watch some of these college quarterbacks. I said, the one college quarterback you need to watch, Dylan Gabriel. You know what the Raider fans told me? He's garbage. Get him out of there. We're not going to draft a guy like that.
They also commented that you were a biased Oregon Ducks fan, too. They commented that. I saw it. I read it in there when I was scrolling. I was like, there's that one right there. There's the Oregon Ducks one. I was going to comment
I actually like Jackson Dart for you for some reason.
I do like Jackson Dart. And then somebody goes, are you really going to trust a Lane Kiffin? I go, yeah, I am, because that means he's probably pro ready.
Yeah,
that's a good
point. Like him or not, he was an offensive mind. He was the Sean McVay that actually worked out in a sense. So
it's going to be so beautiful to have Overthrow, Nix, and Shadur Jamarcus is his middle name, Sanders, both in our division. Overthrow, Nix, and Jamarcus Russell back in the flesh.
Bro, it's so funny to me.
Anything better this weekend than to see the Broncos lose to the Chiefs backups?
They will.
I think that.
Yeah, I think they will.
Chiefs are gonna run it on them.
You know, it's funny. Dan also got so you'll like this NFL, Mike. This week, I don't know if you saw that post that we had, but we had Eric Williams on from Fox Sports, and good friend of ours. I've known him for 10 years now, so he's a great guy. So he knows how to pick at Dan's buttons and how to get Dan going. So I'm like, Eric, which LA team do you think is going to go further, the Chargers or the Rams? He's like, you got to go with the Rams, right? And Dan was getting killed because he's like, dude, he is not gonna lose that. And he just starts going off or whatever. It was the funniest thing ever. Like, it was just funny to see the way Dan was. People were coming at Dan for saying that the Chargers are going to go further than the Rams.
Oh, wow. You have a Chargers helmet? That's pretty interesting.
That's cute.
My friend gave this to me.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I gave it to you. Yeah.
That's his.
This is Jake's, but it's signed. But I brought it out here just because I always like to have props around, and I'm bullshitting.
I have him a home severed head laying around here. I can't.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Yeah,
but I was gonna say, Mike, he's just showing his favorite playoff team. That's who he's rooting for.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, the Chargers are winning a playoff game, no matter who they play in the first round.
If you go through my comments, that's what everybody calls me. They call me a Charger fan. One, because they always see this behind me, and they're like, "Why are you kicking it with two Charger fans?" I go, "Because it pays the bills."
That's why.
But I do have something for you guys, because I know the Chargers aren't going to bring the Super Bowl trophy home this year. So there is a trophy that I got for all Charger fans, and maybe they can hang it in their little trophy spot, but right here, like,
What the hell is that, dude? Is that a horse?
That's a Denver Bronco.
donkey.
Oh, that's a Bronco.
Oh, it's a donkey.
Or it's a representation of how the Chargers play.
Like ass. You're a dumbass. You're a dumbass.
Oh my god.
It's just so funny, dude. These top 10 pick guys, you know, I was once in your spot. We were once in your spot. Now no more. Now no more. Son of Odin, Jim Harbaugh, it's a new era. Now there's going to be 2 teams in the AFC West.
That's what happens when you make the right picks and you don't just pick the same player you picked the year before.
You see what I'm saying too? And then, you know, a commitment to getting a guy who's actually done it before. I think the best Anthony Lynn was our best shot between the first year head coaches in the past, you know, decade or so. But it's like, bro, like it was time. You need someone who knows what the hell's going on. You can't take a chance on another first year guy. Like they've been doing that too long.
Thank you both for jumping on. Last question for you guys. Everybody, please pound the like button. We definitely would appreciate it. Will John Cena win his 18th, 17th?
No, 17th. Yeah.
Will he surpass Ric Flair's record in this final run? NFL Mike, you're nodding your head. Yes.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think that Cena necessarily wants to do it himself. I don't think he really cares about doing it. I think he's cool with being tied as personally, but I think that the storyline that they're setting up here is for him to do that. Like that seems like that's got to be an achievement on that path, on that last tour. I would predict it'll be the world heavyweight title.
Joe?
Yeah, sometime this year, yeah.
Why do you sound so sad about it?
Because John Cena sucks. Everybody knows that.
I love John Cena. Come on. That's my childhood hero. What is wrong?
Like you grew up with John
Joe
Cena.
hates
Like, that
all
was the
things
guy
that
you
are
watched.
good. He hates all things that are light, all things that are positive. He wants darkness at all times.
Well, the black hole, dude. He's a Raider fan.
I know. He's
But, like,
consumed.
but I'm not
Just
gonna
let it
lie.
go, Joe. You're from LA. Just become a Charger fan, man.
I'm not from LA.
I'm
Oh
not
yeah, they
gonna
don't
lie.
count Bakersfield. They don't count Bakersfield as LA.
I'm not gonna lie,
you ever
though.
grew up on the mean streets of Bakersfield? You better calm down.
Yeah, well, my bad. I might get fucking popped. I better be careful.
I'm not gonna lie though. I'm also with Joe on that. Like, I can't stand John Cena. I love basic thugonomics, John Cena, but like the cartoon, the
You
colored
loved him when he
shirt,
faced The Rock.
That was the only time because I had to root for him. I can't
And
stand
Roman.
The Rock. Well, he was serving up Roman. That was pretty good.
That's
But
twice.
because of-
That's two of the biggest times too.
because of that, he's a tribal chief now. So that's what it took. So I'm good with that. But yeah, I'm tired of John Cena. You know, respect to him. He was huge for the industry. I just hope he comes back as not like a cartoon. Oh, there you go.
You can't see me.
Exactly.
But it's
I have a
very
picture with him too. I don't know where it is though.
It's behind you, I think. Isn't it behind you on the shelf? I think it is.
Oh, Joe, you'll love this one.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
He's the best, dude. I love. Got me feeling nicey.
What happened to that? What happened to that, Fernando?
What are you talking about? Oh,
He's the
you,
same-
Dressed up, cute.
want me to lose more weight? I'm sorry. I'm on that right now. Actually.
He's with the collared tee. He's with the collared
I
shirt.
don't care about your weight. Hey, big guys are in, Fernando. Big guys are in.
I do need to go kind of back to that. It's gotten so informal lately that I'm like, oh, I do need to go back to the tie. Thank you, Joe. You just motivated me to go back to the tie. I'll do
I want
better.
Professional, Fernando.
Yeah, who's ruining the professionalism in sports media?
Oh, dude,
How
you
dare
can take
you?
your pick. Take your pick, dude. You got the Ouchos of the world. You got the Mina Kimes of the world. Who else? All these lames on TV, man. I don't even watch it.
Thank you
Yeah,
to
nothing to
NFL
do
Mike.
with poisonous TikTokers at all.
Thank you to NFL Mike. Thank you to Joe Morley. Thank you to Paul Gutierrez. We're gonna do this in the offseason again because this was definitely a lot of fun. So appreciate both of you guys. Everybody pound the like button before we head out this weekend. Chargers, Raiders, 125 January 5th. On January 4th, though, the Chargers will know what they need to do, come Sunday, whether it's rest their guys because they're locked into the 6th seed, or if they win, they get the 5th seed and they go play Houston. So that'll definitely be interesting. Joe is fighting for a top 10 pick to stay there. So we'll see
He needs
how
to
that
fight
goes
harder.
for him.
He needs to fight harder.
But definitely appreciate you guys. Hey, Mike, let everybody know where they can find all your good stuff.
At the NFL Mike on all platforms. We need the help. TikTok's getting banned and my career is being ruined. Please, my own government is attacking me, so follow me at the NFL Mike on all platforms. Thank you.
Joe, why don't you let everybody know where to follow you? Because I mean, both of you guys have some great stuff. NFL Mike is obviously on the fantasy football side. On the positive side, you're on the asshole side, where you're just like taking a crap all over.
You're saying I actually make like informational, like good stuff, and he just
trolls.
I'm the heel, the NFL heel, like I bring the heat.
I love it.
DJ Morley on TikTok, Facebook. If you are older, because a lot of you can find me on Facebook. You can find me. Just type the name in, and I'm gonna pop up. Like you can type in Brock Bowers, and I'll show up on Google too.
Yeah, he will. He will. Search Brock Bowers.
I'm about to you guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. Sunday, we will be back after the Chargers-Raiders game. Make sure you're on the lookout. We'll go live, and we'll talk about what the future holds for the Chargers, whether it's the 5th seed, 6th seed. They're in the playoffs. So thank you guys so much. You guys are the best. Have a good weekend, and everybody have a good one. Thank you guys so much.